Hello, you guys. I'm Carlos, and I'm here today with District Superintendent Sonja Tobey. And before we start that whole thing, I just want to remind you and thank you for tuning in to Circuit Update. But also, if you are tuning us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, and podcast just the audio, please, whatever version or whatever platform you are preferring to get this information from, please like us, subscribe. And if you know of somebody that may like and may want to know more about what's happening in the Oklahoma Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, please let them know that we are around and send them the information so that more people can be tuned of what is going on in our precious conference. So with that in mind, today I'm delighted that the District Superintendent of the Southeast.
That's right.
Southeast newly district and newly appointed is here with us, District Superintendent Sonja Tobey. So we're going to go into it, and the first thing that I want to ask you is, you're a seasoned district superintendent by now.
No.
so how has been your experience as a newly appointed district superintendent, and with the added caveat or challenge that you are coming into even a new district as well?
Well, the first thing is that I thought I knew what the job entailed. You can read the Book of Discipline, and it doesn't tell you everything. So I've just been trying to figure it out. I feel there should be a cutoff point where I can no longer say I don't know, but I haven't reached it yet. So I don't know, but I can find out for you is a pretty solid answer. Yeah. But it's a new district, so it's a bigger district. Mm-hmm. So going into it, the outgoing district superintendent, John Breon, was moving at the same time that we're moving, at the same time that all of this other stuff is going on. So there was some logistics that were kind of difficult, but also he hadn't had a district administrator for a bit, and he had some great DAs that were helping him, but once I got Tyler Lippy in as our district administrator, life got a little bit easier. So that was that was great.
That's great. So as you were saying, so not everything figured out, but you are in the process of
figuring everything out. The cabinet's really good. They don't make me feel stupid when I ask questions, so it's pretty good.
Well, and I do know from other district superintendents that you guys are always learning something new.
Yeah.
So it like that learning curve never ends.
They haven't told me that.
I
thought it ended at some point in time.
Oh, don't tell Sonja that I said that.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to moving on with, I know that you are learning about your new district, but if there's any church that you would like to lift up, any church that's doing great ministry and that it can maybe repeatable or duplicable in any other part of the annual conference that you may want to lift up, church or churches that you may think that they may want to do that.
Well, there's great things going on in the district. There is, Shakota just became a United Methodist historical site and other great things that are going on in the district, but Ada Asbury is really doing some fantastic things right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it would be able to be duplicated in every community, but they have a food distribution ministry where, when you see it in just numbers, it's different, but they distribute about 30,000 pounds of food twice a month to 240 people twice a month. And so, you hear that and you go, that's great. And then I drove there to see it, and there was a line of cars a mile long waiting to get there. So that was exciting. And they've recently gotten a grant to put in solar. They've extended their food storage, their freezer and refrigerator walk-in food storage, and that takes a lot of money and electricity and stuff. So they've gotten a grant to put in solar power.
Oh, that's great.
So that's ecologically friendly. Yes. And then they also there's a program down there called Southern Oklahoma Addiction Recovery that provides alternatives to jail. they are part of that as well. And so some of the guys will come and help distribute the food. They go to church there. And so those two kind of work together. What I think would be helpful is maybe for one of them to come and tell how they get these grants.
Yes.
Because there's money available in many areas that churches could utilize, but we just never know where that money is.
Right.
And so they obviously know how to fill out a grant request and get the funds. So that's one of the things that I think is helpful. And they've been without a pastor all summer. And
Wow.
so they've done all of this on their own.
That's amazing.
And
That's
not
awesome.
waited.
That's great.
Yeah.
The power of laity.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm a big proponent of empowering laity to be the church and not
Yes.
wait for the pastor to tell you what to do.
Right.
Don't wait for the pastor to tell you what to do.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
That's awesome. So, all right. So what has been a blessing for in your short time that you've been a district superintendent? That probably feels like years now. But in your time as a district superintendent, what has been one of the blessings that you have enjoyed going around the district?
Well, of course, everything that's going on with Ada is really exciting, but there's
Yes.
other places that are doing exciting things. But it's just, we had our district gathering on Saturday, and we had almost 80 people there.
That's awesome.
And we had some good educational opportunities. We worshiped. It was wonderful. I got to preach a sermon. So, that's not every week anymore.
Right.
So, but that was just the people. The people are a big blessing. And we're relocated to a new part of the state. The only part of the state that I have not ever been appointed to before is the Southeast District. So I'm learning all about the Southeast District, and it's beautiful,
It is
beautiful scenery and everything. So, yeah.
Particularly now in the fall with all the foliage.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful over there. So what, one of maybe, as you just said, there is a long tract of land that you are in charge of, superintending and supervising. And the question has come with many other district superintendents and even our bishop that now oversees so large of a population, but also of land. How are you planning to be present, around the churches, around your district, kind of thing?
That's been the topic of conversation at Cabinet of how we can be present, and people have some excellent ideas. Currently, I'm trying to make time to go to lunch with all of the clergy. The last one is this week, though, but several clergy have taken advantage of that. I'm trying to get to various churches, big and small, to worship with them. And at some point in time, probably at the beginning of next year, I'll have times that I'm in various communities. But, coming in, there's prep for charge conference and clergy consultations, and I'm not really certain what this site is supposed to look like. So that's coming up, and there's been a couple of other things that I've needed to be in certain places for. So the way that I'm trying to be present, perhaps kind of remotely, is we have a weekly district newsletter, and I want everybody to be able to get that because it has, sometimes I can put inspirational things on it, but mostly it has some information about ways that you can, things that the district are doing, celebrating churches in the district, and, just kind of putting out that information. And I think that connects this wide variety of churches in a wide area. And so, and at some point in time, I would like to see more working together amongst the churches. I know that that's been tried before. I've been on the other end of this, and that's not what I'm talking about necessarily of forcing these things, but seeing how people can perhaps be in ministry
Together.
in various ways, together.
Yeah. So if for whatever reason you're not receiving the newsletter, the monthly newsletter, weekly newsletter.
It's currently weekly. It may go to monthly. You never know.
For weekly newsletter from the Southeast District, make sure that you contact the district administrator, Tyler. And we're going to be all the information is going to be here in the lower thirds here in a minute, and you can see it. And please contact him so that you are added to the list and you receive that important information from your district superintendent and what is going on all over the Southeast District. Okay, great. So what would you like, if there's any word that you would like to say to the people of the Southeast District? Here is one of the opportunities, as you said, is one of many opportunities that you would like to say, kind of introducing yourself. For many, maybe they haven't get the chance to see you yet.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I can promise you I won't remember your names, but please tell me them anyway. I'm working on that. But name tags are just wonderful. So if you can do that, that's great. The other thing is, we want to reach you. You were talking about the newsletter and doing that, but making sure that your contact information is correct in Brick River, that we have how to get a hold of you. That helps me actually, make it to various places or contact people. And for, pastors or leaders out there, that your worship information is correct, so I don't show up too late or way too early. So, but that's one of the things that I have found is I double check the worship times because they're not always correct. But other than that, I just, can't wait to meet you, and hopefully we'll be able to do that some this fall and get to as many people as possible. So.
Yes, awesome. All right, so we're just about in the home stretch.
Okay.
So I've been asking this question to everybody who's been here at Circle Update, and my question is, how do you get back from the business of the church, the paperwork and the drivings and the, minutia of the things that can, overwhelm us in many ways, to the heart of the ministry back again, the calling and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. So what do you do?
Well, of course, I have regular times of prayer and devotion. In the move, I don't like chaotic environments. And there's nothing that's smooth necessarily about any move. So in the move, and things were chaotic and I didn't know what was going on or what to do with my job, I have a spiritual director that helps keep me grounded and helps me see the blessings in things that sometimes I get overwhelmed by. And so it's been a big help, is having that spiritual director to help me see those things.
That's great.
And as a sounding board when I need to, scream a little. So, and then, I've been worshiping in churches. And so I know I'm there as the district superintendent and people want to meet me and everything, but it's been very nice to be in worship, to sit in the pew and to just have that opportunity. There's so many different styles and kinds of worship services and preaching and all of that. That's been outstanding.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Enjoying being part of the
just
congregation.
enjoying being a part of the congregation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I enjoy that too. Now that I get to be in this side as well, I enjoy that, just to come and enjoy and listen, that kind of thing. All right. So the last question for you.
Okay.
Is there anything interesting? As I said, you're getting to know each other, kind of districts and district superintendent. So is there any hobby, anything at all that it is not necessarily ministry related that you enjoy and like to do?
Okay. Well, I have to say that I'm getting a lot of time with audiobooks right now.
Oh, there you go.
Sure. And, I don't like necessarily any brain-taxing audiobooks. They're generally cozy mysteries that are really easy to listen to and pick up as soon as I get back in the car again.
Right.
So, I like to piddle with paints. My most recent has been painting rocks. And so occasionally I'll leave those in places. So if you find a rock. But that's been kind of a fun thing that I haven't really been able to pick up a whole lot. I had some saved, but I haven't been able to quite get back to that yet. Getting used to a new schedule is,
hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's you just have to figure out when your times of Sabbath need to be and your times of so it's a process to figure that out. But yeah, those two things I like, and then just traveling, spending time with my husband and dog.
What's the name of your doggie?
Bella.
There you go, Bella.
Bellis is a Chihuahua and an amputee. She's a tripod. And so, and she was a rescue.
Uh-oh.
She had kind of a, rough first 10 months of her life. So we worked through some of that. She's still a needy dog, but but yeah, she's sweet.
Adorable.
And, yeah.
Great. Well, I pray many blessings upon your ministry.
Thank you.
Going to Southeast District. I know that the life of the superintendent is not easy whatsoever, because I've been around district superintendents, and it is not easy. But many prayers upon you, your family, your travels. I know that you're going to be from here to there and everywhere else. And if you're part of the Southeast District, also prayers upon you. And you're going to be great. You have a great leader. So together we can keep going into this thing of ministry and of faith together. And thank you for being here today.
Thanks for asking.
All right. Yay. All right. See you soon. Hello, you guys. I'm Carlos, and I'm here today with Dana Parker. I'm so happy that you are here today. And before we start in the whole thing, I just want to remind you, please like either in YouTube or Spotify or Apple, whatever platform you're listening or seeing us, please like us. And if you would like to share with somebody else that may be interested in what is happening across the Oklahoma Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, we would love for you to help us spread the word and let them know what is going on. And today I'm excited because Dana is going to tell us all about mission, all about disaster response, and everything that she's in charge now. I know that she's starting this new venture, a new adventure and phase of her ministry, but it is so exciting that you are here with us today and that we can talk about it. So with that in mind, can you introduce yourself to the good people of Oklahoma? Who are you and what is your title? And we can start from there.
Okay, sure, thanks.
Yeah.
My name's Dana Parker. I am the Associate Director of Connectional Ministries for Community Engagement and Disaster Response here for the Oklahoma Conference.
Cool. Now, just also for the record, Dana, are you a clergy or are you a lay?
I'm a lay person.
Yes, excellent. So we've been highlighting a lot of lay people doing work in our conference, and it is exciting that you are a lay person leading us in mission and community engagement. So with that in mind, what is community engagement?
Well, I think community engagement is probably going to be something that develops over the course of time. What I think about is like a reimagining of missions, specifically for how we do missions in our local community. So it would be who are the people that live near our church? Who are the people in our community that may be more vulnerable? What agencies are in our community that are doing work? I think we're hoping to have this refocus on relationships and partnership, so that we instead of like event to event, more like a long-term plan for how we're involved in our community and build up our community.
So kind of contrasting from the past, if you will, like where we usually do things, kind of, those kinds of things. So in the past, you're saying mission was more event for event. Can you elaborate on that? Like there was Easter egg hunt or in the local church or going to an actual mission trip or something.
Sure, yeah. And I think all those things are great, and we don't want to diminish that, right, or say that that's not been mission work.
Right.
But I think it's more like just kind of coming at it from a different perspective, so that what we're doing is whatever we decide to do, that we're doing that as a way to continue a relationship with whoever we're working with,
right,
and so that what we have to offer through the love of Jesus that we know, through the, that is something that's not a one-time thing, but that's something that can be built on, and that we learn too from the people that we work with.
So less transactional, more relational.
Yes.
That's why I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's community engagement, partnerships, relationships, and building over time instead of as a transaction thing that, well, we just do this and then we close shop and we start again over type thing, right?
Yeah.
So why is that, how it kind of, maybe you answered the right question, but how is that different from missions, or community engagement contrary to mission?
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that for our church that we've kind of learned recently is this idea of how we can tend to say we have the knowledge, we have the resources, and we're going to, and this is what you should do. So here we are to do that for you. And in conversation with partners, I think probably all over the world, but the one that I think of the most is Manos Juntos at the border in Mexico, that we've had a long history of helping develop that that ministry there. We have a really strong partnership with them, but we also have been the leadership there. I think has come to know their community. They live there. They know what's needed there, and they've developed other ministries like the community center or the camp and the daycare, and they want partnerships that will help them develop that, so that we spend time listening and saying how can we be a part of your dream, and I really think that kind of may have influenced how we're thinking about missions for in our community too. So it's not we're not abandoning missions or volunteer missions. We'll still have teams, but we do want to have that kind of shift, I guess, in attitude. So when we're involved in helping people, it's on that relationship basis and with a lot of listening and coming from the perspective that the people we're serving.
Right. So what I'm listening is mission, as we have practiced it for a while. It was more of a abroad or in the border or in the local communities. It was, we have these to offer, we offer it, and then they're in a way a client, right? As a transactional, we do this because we have this. Right. We do it, you enjoy it, we enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Yeah. And we feel good about ourselves because it is not a bad thing, right? We are responding to Jesus Christ's calling the best we think we is, and we have the best way we know about it. So that is one way. And then we just, put our tent up and we out of here, right? Type thing. Yeah. And what you're saying, or what I'm listening with community engagement is either abroad, in the border, or in our local communities. It is more about building relationships, see what the community already has, and build those partnerships and interconnections where we add to the mix of what could happen in that networking. Yes. And then so we're still responding to Jesus Christ's calling, just in as you say, in a different way. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, thank you. That's pretty exciting. That's a great shift. Yeah. Well, I've been. I know that in many ways, am I understanding correctly that you are following Lori Foster?
I am.
And for those who are long-time United Methodists in Oklahoma, Lori Foster has been missions coordinator and BIM for many years, and now Dana, you're part of it. So And what I'm saying with this is that we have been in partnerships and listening to this type of conversations with partners like in Bolivia, in Colombia, and everywhere. That well, we have always something also to offer, and we want to reach out to you, kind of thing. So, anyway,
I think that's really exciting to be able to say what can we learn from you?
Yes.
How do we how do you experience your faith and practice your faith? That may be something that is helpful to us too.
Yeah.
In the United States, we can always learn.
Sure. Yes.
Better.
And again, it is abroad, but it is also contextual, right, in your backyard as well, in your local community. All right. So, if my church of to become more engaged in the community, right? And we're talking about now local community, right? Is that understanding correctly? Where would we start? Where would our church start? Where our local congregation starts?
I think the first start is just to have a conversation, and the more people you can bring into that conversation, the better. So, if you have parents in your daycare program, if you have people in your, if you have a food ministry, or if you have people that come to that, just that initial conversation of how does your day go? How does your life go? Where do you find places that you struggle with? And then, also, who do we know in our community that is in leadership? And have we connected with them? Can we get to know them better? What are their needs that we could plug ourselves into that? So, I think part of that is, just starting small.
Yeah.
Maybe try one thing and just see how that grows into something else.
So conversation, leadership, type thing in the community, and see what happens from there. Yeah. Out of the, maybe you find also assets, right? What it is that you can plug in and
Yes.
grow from there.
Yeah.
All right. So would the conference help local congregations, and if so, how?
Well, we would like to, yeah. Well, hopefully we can. We have a few workshops that have been scheduled. The Communities Impacting Poverty workshops. There's still 4 that haven't happened yet, and there's probably registration is probably open for some of those. If that's not something that a church is able to attend, all of that information I can share. We can share on a church-to-church basis, but it has some ideas on how to, from the aspect of poverty, maybe how to come at understanding poverty from a different perspective that can help with that attitude of building relationships. But then there's also some resources that we can share to kind of help move along with that. Attending the Day of Learning at annual conference, or one of these Communities Impacting Poverty, will open up some grants also to kind of help seed money to start any kind of ministry that you start in your church.
That's awesome. So as of this taping, we still have 4. And I'm sure that we're going to put something here in our lower thirds to see which ones are still left and where are they. So do that, and maybe there's some grant money applicable there. And then also maybe exploring and in those conversations, maybe that also gets into, we could do this. And maybe other grant opportunities open, not either in the conference or beyond the conference.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And we'll be happy to help as well. And you can contact Dana. We can put also her information there. How to contact her to for her how to help you with all these grant writing and stuff. Okay. How does community engagement and disaster response go together, hand in hand?
Well, it's interesting because that's what disaster response is all about. Is you don't get much done unless you're working within your community. You have to partner together to get things done with other agencies, with other churches, and you have to find a way to work together, or nothing happens. So it's one of the things that I've been learning more and more about working in disaster response. But the more you know about your community before a disaster, the better you are ready to meet the needs if one happens.
So I mean, I want to continue that thing about disaster response, because you've been working in disaster response before you started this other phase, as I said, of venture of your ministry. So can you tell the good people of Oklahoma, what type of disasters have you seen in the last, I don't know, year or so, and if also they can plug in on that part of ministry as well.
Sure. Yeah, there's we've had Oklahoma's had its share in the last few years, definitely, of tornadoes and flooding. South Oklahoma, North Oklahoma, Eastern Oklahoma.
Oh boy.
It's been there's been spots all over the state, and there is right now everything's past the kind of the cleanup phase and moving into the recovery phase. So that's it's disaster response is a very long process, and there's, especially if you have governmental agencies involved, it takes time. Even with insurance, if that's if that's something that you have, but dealing with FEMA or SBA loans or anything like that, that just takes time to get through. And from our perspective of being providing resources, those come after all the other resources have been gone through. So we're there to kind of fill in gaps for people who don't have enough to get to a full recovery. So we're in that period now where there's case management going on, and individual families are being identified, and then we'll be able to contribute money for materials, and hopefully volunteer teams to kind of put that work together with those materials. And so that's kind of in the future.
I mean, that just blows my mind that we hear the tornado that comes, whatever, I mean, a tornado or a flood or whatever. There is a whole hype about it, that there's crews about it there, media crews and everything, and recording. And then there is a wave of people that come and clean, right? But then once the hype, I want to use that word, hype, ends, usually they're still dealing with the disaster, right? I mean, families, and they're still. But what you're telling me is that we hang in there, and we are for the long haul with them.
That's right.
So that means that people who are suffering from a disaster that happens probably a year or 6 months or something ago, we're still with them.
We are. I'm still working with a long-term recovery committee in Muskogee that's dealing with tornadoes from 2022. So over 2 years, and then so it's so varied. It's so all-encompassing disaster response that if there's any interest, there's all kinds of places to plug in. Not only just helping communities prepare beforehand, but also serving on a long-term committee group in your community to kind of help identify how things are going for people, or coming in and doing repair work. There's a lot of different ways. If one of the things that we kind of say to kind of help understand the time is that however many days a community spent in that initial like first responders kind of time, it's 10 times that for the cleanup the relief
Wow.
time, and it's 10 times that for the
Wow.
recovery. So you're you know, you're talking at least 2 years for most disasters.
That's amazing. That's mind blowing. And so, if you would like to be part of, you're interested, if you're maybe your church is, I want to partner my community in preventing or going in an ongoing recovery, contact Dana Parker. If you would like to know more about partnership with other communities and other agencies, either governmental and or nonprofit, Dana can help you as well to connect. And if she does not know that person, maybe she will know somebody that knows that part, or at least help you with that connection and the how approach that, and grant writing and grant opportunities and all those kinds of things. So, I mean, really it is up to the imagination, seems like, of local congregations.
I think so. Yeah, it's I think it would be really interesting to kind of find out what are your assets as a congregation. What are you what is your members, have your members been involved in before? Who do they know? Those kinds of questions kind of help you figure out how you would be most so that it's tailor-made to your congregation, your ministry. Yeah.
Let me rephrase. It's not up to imagination. I think that I would like to change it to the discernment of the Holy Spirit. It is,
Yes.
right? I think I'm not being corny. It could be corny, but it is not. I really think that it is. It is imagination, but I think it is driven by the Holy Spirit that is leading us towards serving brothers and sisters who maybe we don't know, or that they're in the community and we are up to reached out to them. So anyway, all right, Evelyn Delight, do you want anything else to say to the good people of Oklahoma? I always ask this last question about if there's anything that you would like to share with them about how do you go from the business of the church, the day-to-day paperwork and casework and blah, 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 to the heart of the church, right? To the getting back to in contact with God and the Holy Spirit, and to not be bogged down by paperwork and the day-to-day things. So
I think I tend to, even though I'm a more introverted person, I really tend to do better when I can, when I'm talking to somebody, I think, about my faith. So I have a group of two other women. There's three of us, and we're reading a book together.
okay.
And it's called "Fill My Heart with Love" by Paul Chilcote, and he has taken prayers from women that were in Methodist societies in the early days.
That's awesome.
And he's so every day has a prayer from one of those women's journals, or and then a hymn that was written by a woman also that you can find in our United Methodist hymnal. So there's one for every day, and we read on our own, but then share what kind of stood out.
That's awesome.
And then I guess the other thing, more on is my husband Roger and I, we like to spend breakfast together, and there's usually a conversation there about what's interested us recently, or might be in politics or in church work, or something that we heard on the radio or something, but it almost always comes back to where that how we understand that through the eyes of faith. And I think having those conversations with him on a pretty regular basis helps that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. It has been a delight to have you here. Thank you for coming to Circuit Update. And again, reach out to Dana, and she will be happy to help you or work with you alongside your community engagement process and phase for your local congregation. Either that could be in your immediate mission field, maybe in the border, because we have a lot of work in the border with the Manos Juntas, and also abroad. If that's what the sermon of Jesus Christ is telling you to say, is that okay?
Yes.
Well, thank you again, and see you soon. Hello, you guys. I'm Carlos here today with Marti Duggan. I'm so happy that you're here today with us. And before we start, please, if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please subscribe to the podcast and send it to everybody who may want to or are interested in what's happening in the Oklahoma Annual Conference. I'm here today, as I said, with Marti Duggan. She is the director of Lay Servant Ministry for the Central District that is just started. And she was recommended by the Board of Laity to be here with us today. So thank you for being here and representing Cayley community. And we're going to go into the whole conversation about what it is and everything. But once again, thank you for being here.
Sure. We have a United Methodist Church in the Mustang, Oklahoma City area called Cayley Community. And we aim to be ability inclusive, people inclusive. We're not exactly perfect yet, but we're getting there. We have lots of different folks in our congregation. Some have family members that they love with exceptional need. And so we just have a big, diverse, happy family there at Cayley Community. And so we seek to just be a place for folks who are finding a new church home or folks who've been displaced from their previous church home. And so that experience looks different for everyone. And so we're just welcoming people.
That's awesome. That's great. Maybe I'm just going to have the obligated question, if you will, like the more obvious question. Is that what does it feel or what does it mean to be the spouse of not only a clergy, but also a church planter?
That is a great question. So I think about this a lot. Long before we planted, we talked and dreamed and prayed and waited. And so for us in particular, and I can't speak for everyone, but for our partnership, it was a partnership. And we knew that we wanted to do this. We didn't know how we were going to do this. But what it means for me is two things. I support Levi in his pastoral clergy role. But then I also support the church through serving, through my own version of pastoral care, if you will, my own outreach, my own community and fellowship. And so, but if I didn't support my spouse first and I wasn't on board with the church planting, I wouldn't be effective in the other area. Because it's not easy. It's challenging and wonderful and sometimes exhausting. But it really was a partnership that we agreed on together first before we, went in that next direction and listened. So it was a long time in the making. We have been different places, and so we used to say that this was a training wheel moment. We learned something in this place that we would take to the next place. And that's where we are in our ministry now.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I like the partnership and came together, and it was not just that, well, why should we do this? Yeah. But it was in the moment. It was a long process. So now you mentioned already you kind of your own pastoral ministry and your own ministry apart from what Levi is doing. So what does that look like, or maybe what maybe it looks like, or what does it mean apart from it? Because that is, so you are, yes, a clergy spouse, if you will, and but also you're doing a ministry on your own.
I am.
So what does that for you look like, and what does it mean, and all those kinds of things?
Yeah, so our specific ministry that I'm doing with the help of volunteers, not just me, but what I am directing our store. It's called Cayley Store. It's a client choice food pantry. Individuals schedule an appointment, they come in and shop. We serve between 100 and 125 people a week.
Wow.
We have a partnership with Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, and then we have a partnership with Crest for retail recovery. And so through those, we're able to serve all of those individuals.
That's awesome.
I grew up eating from a food pantry. And because I have food sensitivities, I couldn't eat the food that they were giving my family. And so it was really, really important that we did client choice. They take what they want and what they need and what they can have.
All right.
And before we planted, we did a little research with the help of some conference friends. And we found that in our particular location, it was a food desert. There's really not a gas station. There certainly wasn't a church. There's not transportation services out there. And so we opened in April, and word got out very quickly, and we are open 3 days a week.
Wow.
And we are consistently serving families, returning families and new families. And so it's really exciting to me that we have Kaylee's store. And one of the things, what we've learned from this ministry is you don't know what food insecurity looks like by the neighborhood, by your church, or by the cars in your parking lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's been very rewarding and very popular and really soul-filling for me.
Yes. So I have visited the store more than once, and it is pretty cool. And I just want to just say, if you want to expand a little bit, because you guys have a area where for children, particularly, right, that they can come and while mom and dad or whoever show up to, or legal guardian is shopping, they can do something else. So do you want to tell them about, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we intentionally know that children are a part of life. And so what we do is a family comes in, one family shops at a time for privacy, confidentiality, and a safe space. A lot of our individuals do have an exceptional need. And so things like shopping aren't always easy.
Right.
And so they're able to have a safe, dedicated space. Our volunteers are compassionate, kind, loving individuals. And since April, we've built these relationships. And so I ask how 7th grade is going. How's kindergarten going? You know, how are parent conferences? And so you really get to know the stories of your families. But if children aren't welcome in your space, parents can't access our space.
Right.
And so for 2 reasons, for community, but also for safety, we have to have our children in the building. And it's been really great to see children choose the food that they like and that they want instead of just get a box of food. And that method is great as well. It's just not what we're choosing. And so I love it when kids come in and they're excited about a certain product that we have. Again, I grew up in a place where we didn't have name brands. We didn't have necessarily the cool items. My favorite section of the store is the lunchbox section. And so kids get to pick individual snacks that they'll take in their lunch boxes.
Oh, that's great.
And so I want to make sure there's some good healthy things and some total junk food things, because that's really important to kids.
Yes.
And it makes them feel safe and valuable and lovely. And so we are serving a lot of kids, and that's another rewarding part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I will invite you to either give Kaylee a call or stop by and visit, because it's really cool how you guys set it up, and it will be a good ministry that can be duplicated everywhere in our conference. So, and we do that in many other places, but just check it out. It is one place that if you are in the city, in the area, just give them a call. They will be happy to show you around and how they do it.
Yes.
All right. So what would you say to laity in our conference that they may be, in the fence as to should I serve, should I not, or like, well, I don't know if this makes any difference or not. So what would you say to the laity out there for the conference?
Well, as a church planter, it absolutely makes a difference when you have people willing to serve. It's okay. If you're a lady, I'm saying to you, it's okay if you don't know exactly where your gift is yet or how you can give yet. That's not important. What's important is finding a place that's meaningful to you. Because I'm able to do things doesn't mean that's where my calling is. Right. And I've been consciously learning this year as a church planter's wife, the more things that I do because I'm able, the fewer things other people can do who are called. And so I'm in discernment this year of realizing that I am surrounded by capable people, but sometimes their service is me stepping back. And so if you're on the fence in any church, wherever you are, we typically think about church as worship team and children's. There's a whole lot of other things that happen in our church. And so if your skill is making follow-up phone calls to new visitors to make them feel important, if you have a heart for cleaning, I'm going to tell you, as the person who engages in trash cans and light bulbs in bathrooms, we have a space for you.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to look the way it looked at another place. If you're available for an hour, that hour is valuable. If you're available to do something remotely at home, that's valuable. In staffing the store, I've learned many people want to help and give, but in person might not be where they can do it. And so I assure you, in your churches, there are places to serve. So the thing you have to do is ask, where can I serve? And then also think about your unique set of talents. Like I said, willing and able doesn't always mean called or meaningful. And so there are some things that you do in lay servant as contributing to the life of the church, and there are things that need to be done. But my hope is that everybody finds a way to serve that fills them. So maybe you read liturgy. Maybe you greet in the parking lot. Maybe you're the best coffee maker ever and you make sure the coffee's made, but I'm guessing that whatever is important and makes you feel welcome is going to make someone feel welcome in my church. So bring it on. That's what I would say, is if you're even thinking about serving, let someone know, because I bet you there's a place for you.
Yes, and I love what you said. Not able and willing is not necessarily being called. So I like that. So follow your calling, that's what you're saying, and ask, and that will be great. So thank you for that. That was beautiful. As well, it's one of those highlights of this. If you don't remember anything else, remember that one. That was beautiful. All right. So final question, or maybe if you want to expand it, we can keep talking. But how do you take care of yourself? And the way that I've been saying it for now, how many times that we have done this, it is how sometimes the business of the church gets overwhelming and daunting that we forget at times the heart of the church, right? So how do you take care of your heart, of your spiritual self among all the...
Well, that's a great question. Some weeks are easier than others.
Yes.
I do the typical things that all of us do. Spend time in Scripture, pray, read. But sometimes weeks are still hard after all of that practice. What I'm learning this year, for both of us, my husband included, is that God doesn't want life to be crazy. And He doesn't want you to do everything for everyone. Which doesn't feel good.
Right.
I'm an acts of service person. That's my love language.
Sure.
And so if I'm not doing, I don't feel like I'm doing.
Right.
So I'm actively discerning the things that I'm called to do. Those whispers, those nudges, those consistent things that keep popping up. That's what I think where I speak to God. I'm actively looking for ways to not accept everything, but again, to let other people do it. What I've learned from staffing volunteers and children's and different things is that people are incredible when you ask. If you never ask, they don't know they're valuable. And so spiritually wise, I'm trying to be still more. I have a very active professional job where in justice ministry, which I'm blessed to have, but when you serve a high need population at work and then you're caring for others in your congregation, sometimes you forget about yourself. And so I think I'm actively working on being able to say no and feel okay about it.
Good.
And then I think it's important for pastor retreats so that we take the load, we share, so that we may not always be able to be on a retreat together, but we balance that out when we can.
Right.
And then in addition to work and church, we also have 5 children. And so there's that pastoral care that happens at any given time, because there's about 20% of a chance on any given day someone's going to need some care. So I think I do the typical things, but I'm striving to do more rest and more quiet, which is hard for me because I like to talk. So actively trying, not always successful. I read a quote yesterday that said, in our spiritual lives, we should only be trying to be better than we were the day before. Because if you look at yourself and all the ways you feel you fell short, or you didn't meet a need, or you had to tell someone no, you forget that you did good that day. So only compare yourself to what you did the day before.
That's great. That's beautiful.
See how it goes. Check back in with me. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
So you're saying this is going to be a part 2 of this conversation eventually. So
that's right.
you heard it here before, everybody, folks. And with that, I just want to conclude. As I said, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for accepting to being with us. And Marti is here today because the Board of Laity recommended you to come here, and I said we should talk with Marti. And so, of course, I said that would be great. So, but if you want anybody, if you have somebody that you would like to raise up and say, hey, I think that this layperson has a wonderful ministry, just like you heard with Marti and all the laypersons that we have interviewed before. You have somebody that you want to say, hey, I know that person, please consider him or her, send us the information. You have all the information here. And also, if you would like to visit, as I said, Kaylee, and know all about the ministry that they are doing, there's also all the information here soon appearing, and give them a call, and you guys will figure out how that happens. But once again, thank you. Is there any final words that you want to say to the people in Oklahoma?
I have one shameless plug about lay servant.
By all means.
If you hear of a training being offered in your district and you don't know, please sign up for the basic training lay servant course and just see. See what your spiritual gift is.
Yes.
Because that's not a language that everybody knows.
Right.
See what your spiritual gift is, and then if that works for you and that's great, serve in your church. If you do it and it doesn't feel like the right time, listen to that pause and come back to us in the future. But please sign up for a local training if you see it offered in your district.
Thank you for being again here with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So see you soon, guys, and peace.